Hello and welcome to Clear Picture Cares, where we shine a spotlight on incredible nonprofits and charities making a difference in our community. I'm your host, Jason Noble, and today we have a very special guest, Robin Berlinksy, the Executive Director at Engaging Creative Minds. Now, this organization is nationally recognized, award-winning nonprofit right here in our backyard in Charleston. They are committed to helping school day educators and out-of-school time programs succeed by leveraging the arts, cultural organizations, and STEM programs and professionals with teachers, principals, and superintendents during the school day, summer, and even after school. Welcome, Robin.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
I've heard about your name from so many different people, so now it's a pleasure to actually get to sit across the table and talk with you. But going into Engaging Creative Minds, what was the driving purpose and passion that created this program?
It's such a great story. So I'm a teacher. I went from the classroom to the Children's Museum. So I was the director of education for the Children's Museum of the Lowcountry. Okay. And I heard about a community event where the Charleston County School District was sharing this new nonprofit idea coming to Charleston based on a program in Dallas, Texas called Big Thought. And the premise was for arts programs and cultural organizations to connect to schools. And I thought, what a great opportunity for the Children's Museum. So I went, and when I heard this woman speak about what Dallas was doing, I got so excited and I said, I'm going to do this. So I was handed the planning manual 13 years ago. And here we are.
13 years ago, and here we are today.
And it's been such a fun ride.
So what is the primary focus of Creative Engaging Minds?
You mentioned STEM, and that's such a good point. We bring the arts together with the content areas, math, science, social studies, language arts, to teach through dance and visual arts and all the fun ways kids learn by getting out of their seats and experiencing things with hands-on activities. So that's the premise of what we do.
Now, you would know this as an educator. Like I was talking about it just today in our morning meeting. Like if I show if I show it to one person, that will only get so much engagement. But if I actually have them take action and do something, there's high engagement. So that's a big premise within like the program. Is there any like numbers that you have as far as like people that go into this program? Like what does it do to help them with not only just learning, but then also keeping that engagement?
Sure. So we give teachers the autonomy to teach because they're the experts in the room, right? So what we're doing is creating a foundation, a space where we show them how engaged their students get when they get to get out of their seats. We'll hear some teachers sometimes say like, oh, we can't really do that with our students. They're struggling a little when we give them freedom. We're like, no, it's not freedom. It's controlled chaos. And let us just experience that. So we get in the classroom and the teachers get really excited. And we just had an evaluation. We had our report from the University of South Carolina, the REM Center, Research, Evaluation, and Measurement. And at 4 out of 5, we were at like 4.9 on every scale for engagement, motivation, excitement for learning. And that's really what it's all about. Then we let the teachers do their job. They get to teach.
Well, what are some of the goals that you have, either short-term or long-term goals?
Well, we would like to continue to expand throughout the state. We're in 14 after-school programs around the lower half of our state right now and expanding next year up into the upper west side through funding with the South Carolina Arts Commission, which we're so grateful for. And we would really like to see this become a full statewide program and then regional and then all across the country.
Oh, that'd be incredible. That'd be wonderful. And so like, when I think about growth and scale, there could be some of the challenges that you face. What are some of the biggest challenges that you face as an organization? And what are the things that you did to overcome them?
Well, I love that question because we're a small organization. We have 8 full-time employees, but we're able to scale out without scaling up our core team. So what we do is we hire within each community. And the challenge can be the first time we reach out to a school district and the superintendent might say like, oh, our teachers are really tired. We probably won't get them to work all summer. But we say, no, that's not what we don't say, come work with us this summer. We say, how about an amazing opportunity to hang out with us this summer, get some really cool professional development in arts integration, and you get paid to be there. And they all raise their hands because we have a woohoo spirit. We have a lot of fun. And teachers love to come. They have as much fun as the kids.
Well, can you share a personal story about how volunteering or donating has impacted someone's life, whether it be a recipient or a volunteer or just someone that's involved within the overall organization?
Yes, this just happened. So we have a camp right now at Mount Pleasant Academy. And one of our volunteers, she's a high school student, she came to us for her community service hours, and she's a former camper.
Oh,
so she started as a camper working with us and saw the joy and the fun and the learning. And when she got to choose anywhere in Charleston to volunteer, she chose us and is now considering a teaching profession.
I think about that. Like, she could be shaping the future of our low country right here, because it all started with her being a camper,
right,
and continuing in with the program. And for those that are inspired to share their experience, their knowledge, their treasures, like, how can someone like learn more about your organization and be able to take that kind of step?
I would really recommend following us on Instagram. That's where we really show the action. We post from our schools all across the state daily. We love to showcase the energy. We always say it's about them, not us. We're not saying, look at us. We're saying, join us and look at these guys. Look what they're doing. So we really highlight our programs. And if you want to understand what we do, that's the best place. And then our newsletter. So you go to our website, engagingcreativeminds.org, sign up for the newsletter, and you'll find out all the cool things coming up.
And so that's the best way for people to stay informed on any current or future events, is going to the website or going to Instagram, and they can see more there. Right?
Definitely. We do have a lot of different things going on. We're a K-12 pipeline of education, so there's so much there. And our annual fundraiser is kind of very different from what we do. It's not an arts program. It's the Charleston Half Marathon.
Okay.
So every January, 6,000 people from around the world come to Charleston to run and raise money for arts in the schools. So that information would also be on there, and we would encourage any runners to help us out and come run the Charleston Half Marathon in January.
Half Marathon.
Yeah, come run.
Do you have any other events coming up that we should hear about?
Yes. So a big help would be any business leaders, entrepreneurs who are interested in helping kids. We have a business plan competition through our high school program called Yes Carolina. And Yes Carolina is an amazing program that's been around for 30 years, and we merged with them in 2021. And what that does is provides opportunities for students in the schools, in high school, to build a business. They create a prototype of their product, or they create a service, and they go through the whole process of the whole SWOT analysis and doing their profit and loss statements, and then they present. And we need judges. So this is where the community comes in. If you own a nonprofit, if you own a company, if you're an entrepreneur, banker, real estate, anything, come and sit in the classroom and see these kids. They are amazing, and they win seed money for their business.
Wonderful.
And then the top 3 of each classroom, we have about 80 classrooms across the state. The top 3 go to the state business plan competition, which is in April every year, and they win significant seed money for their business.
So this is all through just helping these young, up-and-coming, budding minds through giving them exposure to business owners and giving exposure to nonprofits. I can only imagine like the stories that come out of what those young minds are able to then accomplish just by getting that kind of exposure.
Oh my gosh, we've seen the coolest products. One guy in Orangeburg County created a cooler on wheels, like remote, and you can literally stay in your chair and just have it come to you with your beverages and your cold whatevers. And he had it like walking around the room. We've had so many cool products. There's another guy that did an app. So if you're at a baseball game, you can just order your hot dog and the guy will bring it to you. And, you know, really just their minds are amazing what they come up with. And it's fun to see them develop it out because they're so excited to do the math. What ninth grader wants to do math generally, but when you're generating what your projected profit is, they're all in.
Well, so it makes math fun.
It makes math so fun.
As a financial advisor, I find it to be fun, but not everybody finds it to be fun. I could tell you, my daughter, who's 10, she was like, "You do math for a living all day? Like, this is what you signed up for?" And little does she know, it's really we help people with their goals all day. But I really am tied into what's going on within your nonprofit and charity. You're helping not just these young budding minds, but then you're also helping the educators and also paying them, right? What are some of the things like that you would like to share with us right now of how could we help? Like, what are some of the things that you're facing that you think we could be able to come together and help you with?
I love that. Thank you for the question. So all nonprofits, regardless of what you do, you want to stay mission focused, right? You want to stay on the business, not in the business. You want to keep your vision alive and keep moving forward. But sometimes we get mired down in the details of like cutting out apples because you need 1,000 for something, or you're really in the business. The best thing you could do as a community member is call your favorite nonprofit and say, how can I help? It's not always about the money. Sometimes it's just, how can I help? Our marathon in January, our half marathon, we need like 400 volunteers. It's just being able to know who to call, someone that's saying, I love what you do. I love your mission. How can I help? I always say nonprofit, the phrase nonprofit is an IRS term. It's not a business model. So I run Engaging Creative Minds like we're a Fortune 500 company. I am very focused on our finances, our spreadsheets, while also staying on the business, what's happening, what's coming up, and how can we meet those demands in the community without living in scarcity and feeling like we have to do all the minor pieces of the business. That's for volunteers. That's for people who are listening who say, I love this nonprofit. How can I help? I don't have the funds. It's not about the money. It's not always about the money.
Yeah.
It's about donating your time, reaching out, call them and say, how can I help?
So that donating of time could not just be for those who are in education. It could be those that are like, wow, I really like what's going on here and I want to be involved. They could also reach out and they can help. I know you use that cutting apples as an example, but there may be other things of just being involved and helping out with their talents and their experiences. I find that to be the most fascinating thing about what we're talking about here today, which is your organization, which is you could really glean on getting experience from multiple people within the community. It's not like you're just looking at getting experience from early educators. Like it could be anyone in education. It could be anyone who has a passion of just giving back into the community. Did I summarize that well? And what could you add to help me out?
You summarized it great. And the only thing I would add is that, everybody has a talent, a passion, something that gets you excited to wake up every day. And we love tapping into what that is. So for example, we're in schools throughout the school year. We do in-school programs. And something that gets really tedious is having a sign put up saying, Engaging Creative Minds is here today in 4th grade, teaching force and motion through dance. It gets knocked over, the wind blows it over. Having those parents at the school that they're dropping their kid off anyway, can you just check on our sign? That's a beautiful volunteer opportunity, but it's like, it would take us forever to drive to 14 schools to make sure the signs are up. Like simple little things are just, it's amazing. Yes, you don't have to be an educator. You could have a child at the school. You could be a neighbor.
I always find we have a saying in this industry or in this office, the biggest doors rely on the smallest hinges. And so like a small act of kindness or just doing something small, and you may not see what it really means, but it can make a big impact in the overall organization.
It really
Even
does.
Just picking up the signs.
It's amazing, the smallest things. And we say the same thing. Small hinges swing open big doors.
There
we say it the other way, but I love it. It's awesome.
I love it. We both come at it from the
the
different
swinging door.
Swinging door. What's your swinging door? Those that are watching and listening right now, right? And you're seeing that we're having fun having this engaging conversation, but it's really about, you've already taken action to like watch and listen, but that's part of it. Take that next action and take a step, whatever that may be, but take that step so you can start engaging within the community and helping those around you. And I'll ask, one of my favorite questions that I love in this podcast is if you could share with our listeners the importance and the value of giving back, what would that be?
Oh my gosh. So when I first started in the nonprofit world, when I was at the Children's Museum, the hardest thing for me to do was to ask people for money, ask people to help. And it was this mindset shift I had to go through to realize I'm not asking people for money. I'm offering an opportunity for people to invest in a mission they're passionate about. I'm not asking someone to help us. I'm offering an opportunity to invest their time in an organization they're passionate about. So it's this mindset shift I had to go through. It's this fear of feeling like you're asking for a handout, like, please, kind sir, can you spare a penny? Like, no, it's about like, let's go, let's do this. It's the energy behind the offer, not the ask. So that was really the piece I had to overcome. And my advice to nonprofits is to remember to always, you are the mission, you are the hero. You need to offer these opportunities because people do want to help.
That's wonderful advice to those who are leading nonprofits and charities. Could you give me advice on someone who doesn't run a nonprofit or a charity, but sees that I want to do something? What advice would you give me?
Again, reaching out. It's, I'm just so grateful to be here to share our message because I'm on the business, not in the business, right? So I'm looking for opportunities all the time. And what you did by inviting me on this podcast was you saved me hours and hours of researching what podcast could ECM be on to share our story. So like whatever it is you do, whether you sell apples or, run a hotel, there are ways to help nonprofits. Just reach out and ask. And I will say too, like on those days of caring, there are different times throughout the year where corporations will, share their workforce, like 15 people are coming to paint a fence. We had it at the Children's Museum. Those opportunities are really great too, but it's also great when 1 or 2 people reach out and say, I'm free on Saturday. What can I do to help? It's incredible what that phone call can do.
I can share with you anecdotally with Rachel and I, my wife and I, when we have our children come with us to do a volunteering activity or even go to, let's say, a special event, they are seeing their parents being involved in the community. And they also see other children there. They see other parents there. And like, they see like what they're doing, like, even if it's like at the food bank or whatever it may be. And for me, what I'm always interested in is what I'm hearing in the back of the car as we're driving home. Not what we're saying in the front, but what are they saying about the event?
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I always feel like better comments than what I could come up with.
That's awesome. Get them started early for sure.
Well, thank you, Robin. I just want to say, just you coming in and joining us, sharing the incredible work, not only that you're doing, right, but also the engaging creative minds is doing within our community. To our listeners, so I want to say, remember that every act of kindness, no matter how small, can make a big difference. What is that saying about the doors one more time?
Small hinges swing big doors wide open.
It's wide open.
Right?
This is where I want you to stay tuned so that you can get more inspiring stories from our community change makers. Until next time, this is Jason Noble signing off.